Hello everyone and welcome back. It is 4:15 in the afternoon. It is at today's high temperature, which is 2 below zero, 74 degrees in the shop here. It got down to 21 below Fahrenheit last night and the wind was up then. It was my phone said a 40 below wind chill. I went in today and got some sheets of 3/8 plywood for the outside of the smoker. I want to continue on that project right away and try to get that one pretty much complete. Somebody had mentioned in a comment, when you're looking at this it looks like it's crooked. That's because it is. That's one reason why I want to use the plywood. And then if I want to put the old rustic deck boards on the outside, I can. Because with the piece of plywood, as long as I cut it square and line it up exactly on the bottom and exactly on the side and get that fastened, it will stay level as long as the base is level. So I will get to that right now. One thing with this smoker that I did not mention in the other video, if I did talk about, I believe that like when it's 70 degrees outside, you have to be real careful because you want your jerky right around that 100 to 105 degrees because you're just basically slowly dehydrating it with smoke. And but when it's, you know, zero out, it takes a lot more to heat that. Well, this is very tall, so we're going to be warm down here, much cooler up here. But with something like this, I will have a piece of plywood that I can, maybe I only want to do this many racks because it's so cold I can't get it warm enough. I can slide a piece of plywood in right here, keeps the heat down there. Smoke still can get around the outside to get up and out, but I guess there's just ways around dealing with the temperature. My biggest thing with the smokers is we have temperatures that range from 35 to 40 actual air temperature below zero here, all the way up to 100, 103 degrees. So we have a big, vast difference here in Minnesota, and you're partially able to control some of that just by blocking some of this off. But on the perfect day, I can run a big batch of jerky by just every hour or two switching the rack out. Because when that temperature is just right, I can get the temperature pretty nice in here and just keep everything moving. I've set this 3/4 of an inch up from the bottom just because this will be on the ground, and if this was down there, this would always be wicking water up in there. So this is perfectly straight. This is a factory edge. This is a factory edge. So if I kick this over so this is flush, I will be perfectly square and everything will be level if the bottom is set level. And I'm just getting this over here now and tacking it so I can mark this out and cut it, and then I'll put it in for good. Well, now we're going to take and cut the door. I'm going to show you the easiest way to do the door using a piece of plywood. And I think on the bottom I'm just going to stay up maybe 3 1/4. And on the top, I actually want to run that up to there, so I'm going to stay down about 1 inch. The thing is, when the door closes, we want to make sure that our seam is somewhere on solid wood, so that, well, first of all, there's not a gap, but also this is only 3/8 plywood, so we can get floppy. You want it to have something solid to hit against. And as it is, even with that, when I shut the door, if it starts to do this or whatever, which is very possible, I'll take this off, move that back inside a little bit, and then we'll take and put a board on edge along that whole door to keep it straight. But anyway, right now I'm just trying to figure out how far in I want to go. This is going to be the hinge side. I think I'm going to come in 1 1/2 inches. And this is the closer side. I'll do the same thing, come in 1 1/2 inches. So 1 1/2 inches, 1 1/2 inches, 1 inch, and 3 1/4. Now I'm just going to go around and mark that. I sanded it because I'm going to want to sand this over, and if once this thing gets hinges and stuff on it, it's going to make it a lot tougher. So we're just going to mark 1 1/2 inches. And down here we said 3 1/4. This side again is 1 1/2 inches. And the top, 1 inch. And now what we're going to do is actually put this hinge on, but just using really little screws so it doesn't go through the plywood right now, because this is going to be hitting against solid wood. So once we get it up there, we'll pull these out and put longer screws in. But you'll see why I'm doing this. By having this side cut, and now I have 2 of the 4 hinges put on there, the door can't move anywhere. You know, it's set right where it's going to stay. And now I'm going to go ahead and take my saw and cut through here a ways, because once this is against the floor, I can't get my saw in there to cut it. I mean, I suppose I could tip the whole entire smoker on its back again, but still there's wood behind here. So I want to cut here, and I'm going to leave this corner. Then I'm going to cut this, leave the top corner, and cut over the same way. Then we're going to place the door, still intact here, get these hinges put on correctly with the long screws, get the 2 put on in the center to hold it solid. Then I'm going to come in and I'll cut these corners out. That'll be the only thing I have left, and then the door will be free floating and able to open. Once I put that door on here, now if I would have had it laid on its side and had to cut everything, we would have had to cut a saw. There would have been like a saw blade cut going all the way through this. And anyway, I've done it this way so many times and it just works out real nice. I always like to have the door hinge on the right side, because when I'm coming out to the smoker, if I have bowl or something to pull the stuff out, you're holding it in your left hand, you're doing it with your right so you can come out and open this without switching hands. Up here where there's only an inch of plywood, you definitely want to drill that because it'll crack it out. I could have cut this the whole way, but this is much easier for me to adjust since the door is there. I can look at this gap right now and just everything is still perfect, but you know, you can still move it somewhat, and I want to make sure that's just right on. Now that I've got this fastened, prior to pulling, cutting this, I'm going to go ahead and pull these screws and put in longer, better screws before I start moving anything around. Now we're just going to space 2 more hinges in here. These are smaller. With my old smoker I had one like this, and then I had 2 of the, well, they're not square, but they're like this. And I liked, what you need to have is a couple of that are tight, so this can't do this. So I'm hoping this will work. They didn't have any of those kind when I was picking these up, so I'm hoping these will work pretty good. These are awfully close to the edge. I think I should drill these. Let's see. I don't need as long as screws on these 3 either. That's good enough for tonight. I'll have to get a couple of, well, you can put the barrel locks in there, but after 4 or 5 years, they still work, but they're tougher. I might put those on there because this does stay pretty stable. But the other kind where you have the latch that goes over and you twist it, they work out pretty good too. I think the last one I had 2 barrels on it and a turn latch in the center. I've got my holes here, and now I'll put something over them that I can open up or close down. And I don't know if I'll do the same back here. I've always wanted to have one where I have a little smokestack coming out the back, which I could do. But then a lot of times I'll just put something over it so it's done. Well, hopefully I can get out tomorrow and do some more on that. I think I'm going to stain and got an exterior spar varnish or whatever for the outside. I think I'm going to do that on the front, but the sides I probably will do deck boards. I'm just not sure. It's supposed to be warm tomorrow though, so maybe I can get some wood cut. They say it's going to be warmer, like 20 or 22, but really windy, so we'll have to see because I'm just about out of wood now. I don't know that. My dad's coming up here Wednesday, and I'm getting pretty low on wood, so we'll see what happens. And then I have to build 2 rabbit nest boxes. They have to be done within the next couple of days because Melissa has 2 of her bunnies that are, they've been bred, and I think they're gonna have babies on the 22nd or something, so 21st, 20th, 19th, and the 20th, she has to get those in. And I can't forget to do that because I'm gonna be in Louisiana at that time. So anyway, lots of stuff to do. Good afternoon, everybody. This morning I had a video to edit for Melissa's channel as the rooster crows, and then I had to book a hotel for the night before my flight to Louisiana. And then I got a hold of the mechanic shop that has my old truck, Old Reliable, and got a hold of them and told them to start her up because it's been a while since they finished it, because tomorrow morning my dad will pick me up and I'll run down there and pick her up and bring it home. Right now I'm running into the post office because on a previous video on Joe and Zach Survival I asked for deer antlers if anybody had any. And I don't think any would be here yet, but I haven't been to the post office for a couple of weeks, so I need to stop by and see if anything has showed up in the P.O. box. Well, it begins. We're getting some antlers here. Well, it's 7 o'clock at night right now. I'm finally making it out here. It's just been a busy day with me going down to Louisiana and not driving down, but going to drive back. It just poses a whole bunch of stuff for me because, I mean, I have tools down there, but you know, what all do I need? And then I don't know if I talked about it yesterday, but we're going to be putting a center island in that kitchen because it's so big. So I went back to the website, the RTA cabinet place that we bought the ones for the house, and I have them all in my cart right now. The problem is somebody has to be there when they're delivered, and tomorrow I'll go down and my dad will be here in the morning. I'll run down and get my old truck, get it back up here, hopefully without any car trouble. And then I'll probably order those. I just have to make sure they're not going to deliver them prior to me being there. So anyway, there's just been a bunch of stuff, and I finally booked my hotel room for the night before, and I called them up to see when their shuttle service goes, and they start at 4 in the morning and go every half hour. So I'll have to take probably the 7 o'clock shuttle to get to the airport. And once I'm down there and I get the new truck and it runs good, hopefully, I'll be much calmer because I can get around myself. I hate it when, right now, the way it's planned out, the guy that I'm buying the truck from says he thinks he can pick me up from the airport. Otherwise, I'm going to have to get a taxi or an Uber to get back because Melissa's daughter has to do with picking up the kids from school and everything. So it's just been trying to get everything scheduled and figured out. But I want to come out here and I want to get the parts cut or whatever for the nest box for the rabbits, because that's one project that I can't be late on because they're going to have babies no matter I have nest boxes or not, and I want them to have their best chance at surviving. So for these here, I actually watched my video from when I did meat rabbits, And I did a really nice drawing on this one. I even put centimeters in there for people. It was like, wow, I must have been in a good mood that day. So anyway, I need to cut some of these pieces, and then I'll be ready to put it together. There we go, 2 completed nest boxes. I'm just going to run the sander over the edges of them so nothing's real sharp. And it took 32 minutes. I thought I could do it in less than a half hour. Well, that's good enough for tonight. Tomorrow's a brand new day. Good morning, everybody. 8 o'clock in the morning right now. My dad should be here in about an hour to pick me up to go down to get my old truck. And it's a really nice 24 degrees right now. Halfway home, so I've been driving about an hour and 10 minutes, and it has a miss in it when I put any load on there, so I must have a coil pack or whatever they're called. A couple of them that didn't like sitting for 3 years, but she's making her back. Old Reliable is up to the farmhouse. Tomorrow we'll probably take a better look. I'm actually going to do a video on it for Joe and Zach Survival, since that channel I drove a lot of miles with this truck. I got back here though, and then Jeff stopped by. He's a friend of the channel. He's been here before. He was here for the party this summer, and he dropped off some breakfast sausage and some Italian sausage to try, and then we were out talking in the workshop for a while. And then when he left, Melissa was here, so I was in talking to her, and now I want to run out to the workshop for a little while and maybe get some stain on the front of that smoker. you have to remember, if you're going to do a little trim board here, which just makes it look cuter, and then it'll kind of save that edge a little bit, you got to make sure that you're far enough down here, not just here, but when you open it, like I could have came down probably another, I don't know, ½ inch anyway, but when you come over here, it's going to hit it. You want to make sure you're open enough. If I would have been down another ½ inch or quarter, I'd have been straight out. You want to be able to get past a little bit. You know, at one time in the next 10 years, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to bang my head on that little corner. I don't want it to stick in my head. I'm not going to stain it tonight. I still have a few more things to do. That's what I planned on doing when I come out here, but then it was like, well, I still have to do the top, and let's do those vents. That back vent I'm not doing yet, because I might put a little smokestack up there with a damper. I'm just not sure yet. Let's see, what do I got here? I think that color will be fine for the front. It's a little bit after 7 o'clock. I'm going to call it a night. Out here in the workshop, I started editing a video, just barely started it this morning before I had to leave. And it's been about 5 days since I posted one, so I've got to get busy on that. Good morning, everybody. I'm just, I want to get some wood cut today. I still have some in the little addition to the workshop, but in here we're just about totally out. And I need to tighten my blade. I think this blade is not that bad. It doesn't feel bad anyway. But it needs to be tightened. Well, I take that back. It's definitely needs to be sharpened. I'll be there all day. So I'll get this sharpened, and then I'm going to have some lunch. I'll shut the forklift off. I started that up. I haven't started it in a couple months, and almost always in the wintertime you got to start them with starting fluid because they don't have glow plugs like my truck does. Yeah, there was a bunch of them that the points weren't real sharp on them, so let's go out there and give it a quick try. Shut down the forklift. I'm gonna run in and have lunch. That worked much better. Well, that's it for today. I might cut wood one more time before I head to Louisiana, but this amount right here would keep the workshop warm for about 2 weeks. The way I burn it right now, where it's warm during the day, but it stays above freezing overnight. So we're good for right now. I don't feel like cutting anymore. I think I'm gonna just stain this whole entire thing for right now. It looks nice. I like that. So I think I'm gonna stain all the other 3 sides. Still have to put shingles on that. And yeah, if I want to put deck boards on it later, I will, but for right now, that'll be fine. That new wood that I got, that really puts out the heat. I think this is mostly oak, and the other stuff was mostly ash, but man, I mean, it's 12 degrees outside, it's 76 in here. It's warm. I just put 2 big logs in the stove and shut her almost all the way down. It'll be interesting with this because the last smoker I had, I mean, it went what, well, over 10 years, 15 years, whatever it was, and nothing was treated on that one. I had 2 2x4s on the bottom that lifted it off the ground that 1.5 inches on each side, and then underneath that I put a piece of like rolled roofing. That's all I had. And of course, you know, it was rotted at the end, but it still could have been usable if I didn't have to move it around much. So if I put a marine varnish on this, an exterior marine, it'll be interesting just to see how it holds up in the weather. I mean, if it goes bad in 5-10 years, I don't care. I'll just build another one. Good morning, everybody. Yesterday I took Melissa into work and I hung out with her. Got a video edited when I was there. And today now is Saturday. And we're going to run down to Lake Superior and just check everything out. It's real pretty in the wintertime. And we're just going to get out and do something today instead of sitting around the house. So I'm pretty much determined to get, this is the first coat of the spar varnish on here, and I want to get the second coat on so that is done before I leave for Louisiana, because that's just happening in a couple of days. That's why Melissa and I are spending so much time, because I'll be gone for a while. It was a lot different when I lived up here and she lived down there. You know, I wouldn't see her for months at a time, and it was so exciting to get down there and see her. And now, when I go down there, it's fun to go down there and get some of that food in warm weather, but it's different when she's up here. It takes some of the excitement out of it. So I'm going to get this done, and then when Melissa gets out of the shower, I'll go take a shower and we'll be off. It was 12 degrees below zero when I woke up this morning and come out and put wood in the stove. And right now it's 4 degrees, it says. The one inside before I come out said it was still 1 below zero. First coat of spar varnish is complete. I'm going to go start my truck so that I can warm up for at least 45 minutes. and then I'm going to go take a shower. Melissa and I went to the streetcar in Carlton, Minnesota and had lunch. And then we went to Jay Cook State Park and looked a little bit at the water. That's where we went this summer, and where the water runs down, but everything is frozen now. Now that I'm back, I'm just going to take the four-wheeler and push the sides of the driveway out here, because over the last week and a half, it's kind of drifted in. And since I'm not going to be here for a while, I just want to open this part back up. Not quite ready yet. A little more time to go. I mean, it's dry, but it's not super dry. Hopefully I can get that last coat on later on tonight. I want to run out and check the SD cards or change them out before it gets dark out. when I drove the truck up to the store this time, it didn't miss at all, so it must have just been the gas that was in there. Looking good. This afternoon I have most everything packed up, all the stuff that Melissa's going to ship down there, so it'll show up the same day I do, and getting everything correct in my, I just bring my computer bag on as a carry-on onto the plane and making sure that there's nothing in there that is going to cause any trouble. Now I want to get the last coat put on this thing, because otherwise I'm not going to get to it for at least 2 weeks. That's it on the smoker for now. When I get back, I'll put the handle on, which I already have, and then I'll have to get the latches for the door, and then put shingles on there, and it'll be time for the test run. Once I get back, we'll run a couple of runs of chips through here with nothing. It'll just get the whole inside coated. It'll smell like a smoker. And after that, it'll be ready to make jerky. Okay everyone, well thanks a lot for watching. I still have to run the garbage can down. Got a few more things to pack. Sarah will be here tomorrow to bring me down to the hotel. And the next day I'll fly to Louisiana. I will see you guys on the next video.